Hello, my name is Sarah. I am a mom of two rambunctious girls, a wife, and of course part of the Flow community. I absolutely love every aspect of it. It really speaks to my outlook on life. And I'm a recovering dietitian. So I say recovering in the most loving way possible. I am a dietitian, but I did for many years practice in the hospital setting in a very sort of within a very small framework. And I'm so happy that I'm now studying functional nutrition to add on to all my layers of knowledge, and I've done a lot of self-learning in between as well. So I really love to look at the whole picture now, the holistic view of how can we treat our bodies the best through how we eat, really nourish ourselves through our food, and through our physical activity, and through the way we treat ourselves with our spirituality, etc., which fits, of course, with everything in flow. So it's just amazing. So I have, through twists and turns over the last few years, really moved away from the hospital setting with my work. And especially over the last year, but even the year before, I had really found myself more in just the, I don't want to say just, but in the mom role. So focusing more heavily on that than my work. And that's been also amazing. And Flow has been helpful with that. Absolutely. So one of the things that I love, in addition to really helping keep my family really nourished in all these ways, of course, always looking at through the lens of food, helping others with their health with that as well. I also love enjoying bringing people together and connecting friends and business relationships, and just having fun, like through like a gathering, or any way that can be fun, and getting usually women together. So I could not have been more pleased when the opportunity fell into my lap to share and educate about a healthy wine. And I've enjoyed wine always. I just, I didn't know it was something that was laden with toxins, as nowadays that's the way wine is made mostly. And so I was adding that into my clean diet, not knowing it was this other source of toxins that wasn't serving me at all. So when I found clean wine, I was over the moon. It fits perfectly with my lifestyle. What I want to talk about mostly today and share with you is something maybe a little different way of looking at wine and how you have it in your life than you may have thought before. And really through the lens of our senses, our five senses. And so just I'm going to take you on a little journey through thinking about a really fun and enjoyable way to approach wine and how we enjoy it. So imagine you are in your favorite place, maybe somewhere that you've really enjoyed traveling in the past. For me, I was lucky to have spent a lot of time in France as in my 20s. And so imagine a beautiful cafe in France, or some beautiful hillsides in Italy, or maybe a lovely, beautiful vineyard in Napa, or some other, perhaps your backyard, or your favorite friend's backyard. Maybe they have a beautiful garden, somewhere where you really enjoy just being present and spending time, and just whether it's with friends or family, or sometimes even by ourselves, just really immersing ourselves in that scene in our minds. You can just go there. And then often that can include sipping on some amazing wine. So the next thing I want you to picture is, imagine you're there in one of those beautiful places, wherever you are imagining. For me, it's usually France. And just picture, so I'll have a little prop here. A glass of wine in your hand, and imagine the smell, the aroma, the taste on your palate when you sip on it, and maybe the sun is, very gently shining on your face, and you're just slowing down and being in the moment. I I really love finding those moments to just really immerse ourselves in the moment with, you know, whether it's like, again, you're taking time for yourself, quiet time, or with friends, to really engage our senses and to just slow down and be with it all in the moment and really take it in and really cement those positive experiences and memories in our memory bank, because that's important. We are made as humans to remember negative things. So we have to really consciously make that effort to remember the positive. And boy, does it make a difference in your everyday when you do take that time. So I love engaging in that way when I am enjoying a glass of wine. So I, a few, let's see, tasting notes that I was going to take you through, or tasting tips, is, now, wine does not have to be snooty at all. It can be super fun. It can be playful, as well as delicious. So think of it like when you smell the wine, do little sniffs instead of a big like that to really get the aroma. And then when you taste it, you kind of try to engage a little bit of, get a little bit of air, oxygen in your mouth too, and swirl it around in your mouth and then swallow it. And it's like a slow kind of almost sensual process, like and you notice flavor in the front, the sides, and then the back. And when you get some really nice wine, you can read about the tasting notes. And you're not going to always taste the same thing as the sommelier who wrote that. However, one thing that is really fun to do is to, so for example, this is a rosé. And it's a beautiful French rosé, so it's not sweet, but it does have notes of fresh watermelon, fresh strawberry, or ripe strawberry. It's crisp. So now those are a little more obvious, maybe familiar flavors for us, but let's say it's a Sauvignon Blanc, or, you know, a nice white wine that has notes of lemongrass and lemon. You might not be immediately tasting that. So what's really fun and I think playful is to gather those items if you're going to be tasting some wine. So whether it's the ripe strawberries and the watermelon, or some lemon or lemongrass. Sometimes there's like a description that says like chalk or minerality. You can get some stones, some actual chalk, and set them out. And then each time you take a sip, smell the strawberries first and then taste and see if you can identify. And really, over time, you can develop more in your palate, and it even broadens the experience even more while you're enjoying your wine. So even if you're into red wine, you know, a lot of the descriptions, if you're already familiar with some bigger, bolder red wines, they have things like leather and tobacco and soil, all kinds of descriptors. So get those actual items, smell them, and then taste the wine. Smell it and taste the wine, and you will expand your palate, and it makes it an even more enjoyable, luxurious experience. So I invite you to think about wine from this lens. I know a lot of us get caught up with just habitual things like, oh, I'm just have wine with dinner. Of course I do. And, you know, maybe we pair it or maybe we don't. Maybe you just have your favorite and you always just go to that one. And then we unconsciously often eat meals unconsciously. So, you know, just talking or whatever you're doing, multitasking, and we just eat and we're barely tasting what we're having. And that goes for the wine too. So then it's pretty easy to overconsume wine when we're going about it that way. And so now that I am so connected with this wine that is made in such a beautiful, really special way and does not have any added toxins or anything like that, I have really slowed down with the process. So I am, it's just so much more fun now. I'm engaging more of my senses. I'm taking it as a time to transition from a busy day into my evening while I'm cooking, perhaps, sometimes transitioning from a busy week into the weekend, to really just slow down, take some time for me. Even if you're with someone and conversing, you can really just kind of take it easy for a minute, you know, and just have that out breath, and decompress and just take a minute. And if you're with someone, even, it's fun to just say, hey, especially if they aren't like already thinking, in the same way about this as you are. You could bring it to their attention. Wow, this beautiful wine that we're drinking. Maybe if you know some fun facts about it, like how it was grown, who made it, that kind of thing. And then, do you notice the lemongrass? I'm really noticing that on the back of my throat, or whatever, really using your senses. And then also, so even like, for example, you're using the smell, sense of taste, the color. I mean, just looking at it, and it's fun to appreciate and enjoy that. Imagination, I think, is another fun thing to include, because you can imagine as you read about the hillsides in France where it was grown, or whatever, Chile, wherever it's grown, and really picturing that brings us into the present moment. So one thing I will say is, of course, we can find this presence, this stillness, this slowing down moment through other things, amazing practices like breath work, or, plenty of other things. A lot of them you've gotten to see through this week with camp. However, I would say that if wine is something you already include in your life, I invite you to try this. Take on maybe the smelling of different items that are described in the tasting notes, to see if you can broaden your palate and your experience, but also try to take the time to slow down with it and see. I found that I actually consume less wine now, because I'm really engaged with it and just really enjoying it and treating myself in the moment. And so I just don't feel like you need to drink as much, and I'm not mindlessly just drinking it and forgetting how much I've had. So I did make a couple of notes. Let me make sure. I'm just wanted to bring all these ideas to you. Let's see. And yes, so it depends on where you buy your wine and all that, but where the wine that I now educate on is sourced from all over the world, only from small family vineyards, and they're all grown by hand using regenerative farming methods, and hand-picked, hand-processed, really made with a lot of heart and soul, from the soil to the end product. And so when I get to read those descriptions about the wine the first time I'm trying it, that also really touches me to really know. In my glass here, I have so much art, and so much has gone into this with love, and now I get to experience it on this end, and just how much of a gift that is to me, from the person who decided to put their life into the art of winemaking. And the other thing about this slower pace with the winemaking and everything is I mentioned the regenerative farming methods. So if you're not familiar with that, you can look it up. There's another term that's less known as biodynamic. And this really treats the soil with reverence. It really makes the soil healthy, very, very healthy, which actually affects the entire ecosystem, including sequestering carbon from the atmosphere, which I really feel strongly that we maybe could do more and different approaches to healing our Mother Earth, and to maybe things that could be a little bit more effective than all the policies and things that government has tried, and hasn't maybe made as big of an effect as we would hope for. But I want to do what I can to leave our Earth in decent shape for my kids and their kids. And regenerative farming is extremely powerful with that process, with the soil being healthy, which grows healthier food or vines or whatever you're growing, which also gives a healthier ecosystem for all the insects and the soil microbes, and maybe livestock if there's some on that land. And again, like I said, actually healing our carbon footprint kind of issue. It really does. The soil sequesters that carbon from from CO2 rather from the atmosphere. And so that actually really speaks to me. And in addition to just knowing that somebody who has put their heart into something like growing grapes and making beautiful wine in a slow, artful way versus in, mass produced, just make the most, it doesn't matter the quality kind of approach. The environmental impact also really speaks to me in a big way. So, let's see, I had so many thoughts about what I want to share, but I also don't want to go on and on. So I wanted to just share a little bit about the wine that I love to drink now. Here's another beautiful, this is a bubbly rosé from France, and I just absolutely love this. Or this is actually my favorite white right now. It's a French white, a Vermentino. So all these beautiful bottles of wine are sourced from all over the world, and we distribute them. So we're connecting these small farmers, these small wineries that don't have the resources to get from, because they don't produce that much from themselves, to me or you. And so we connect you. And the company actually was founded going in August, it'll be 4 years ago, by a woman. And I actually really love that aspect as well. And she just had a big, big vision. And her vision, in addition to many other aspects, really does focus on that land aspect, the helping the soil heal and regenerate. And so we are continuously working with different vineyards and farmers to transition their land back to the old-fashioned regenerative farming methods, which actually haven't been in use traditionally in a long, long time, because things like turning the soil too frequently and all that also really is hard on the soil and doesn't have that amazing effect. So I'm really proud to be able to share that we are doing so much to really transition. So far we're just working with people in the US in terms of no, I think actually there are some other countries too where we've already worked with them to transition some land to regenerative methods. We are only able to ship to people in the US right now, but it's a really fun resource. So I invite you to connect with me through, I have a link in my text, and I would love to pair you with your perfect, delicious, amazing wine to really experience this other level of wine made without any additives, no added sugar, no added chemicals and flavors and animal products, and you name it. We don't want anything like that in our bodies. And I do have a few extra tips on how you can get the wine shipped to you for free, which is amazing because wine is heavy. So if you've ever worked in any business that does shipping, shipping is expensive. And in the summer, we do carefully have the wine protected with a cooler type thing with some ice packs so that it will get to you safe and sound. Wine that's made without extra added preservatives, etc., really can spoil in the heat. So we have taken every measure to make sure it gets to you safely. And let me see if there's anything else I wanted to share. I think that's about it. I just really want to inspire you to really look at this through a different lens. If you already have wine in your life, or if maybe you don't drink very much, but you enjoy it, to just slow down with it and think of it through this other lens. Who made this? How was it made? What are the tasting notes? And then really taking, if you want to broaden your palate, it is fun to do you could do it with friends, like a little party, taking the items that are on the tasting description and smelling them like I described, and really just being in the moment with it. It's like that little, if you're like me and you're a romantic, then it's like a mini vacation, because then you just sit there and imagine where you were in Italy or in France or in Napa, or your favorite, like I said, beautiful garden or something where you enjoy spending time outside with friends in a sort of luxurious feeling away, you know. So I really invite you to find the fun and the joy in this seemingly simple, everyday, mundane thing of drinking wine. I mean, I guess wine didn't used to be a mundane, everyday thing. It's just become that for people with, you know, oh yeah, just have wine, just grab the whatever cheapest one at Trader Joe's or something, which, you know, wasn't made by hand and definitely not made with love and care. So I think that's it for now, but I would love to connect with you, and maybe just if you want to look at my the link that will be shared with this and connect with me, just text me. I'm happy to give you advice on what to try first, how you can get some discounts or free shipping. And I am so happy that I got to connect with you all today. So cheers.